Hello, this is Zeeg777, and welcome back to my Simply Magic 2 Let's Play. Episode, I think we're on 6 now. The purpose of today's episode is going to be primarily automation. I've got a bit of work on my base here, but I finally decided on my color palette that I'm going to use. In order to make all those parts, I'm going to need quite a bit of things automated. So, let's go ahead and start. We're over here at our blood magic altar, because for a lot of the automation I'm going to want today, I'm going to need some rituals. In order to actually be able to power those rituals, I want to go with Well of Suffering underneath the altar here, so I can throw my witches down there and actually get LP. Unfortunately, in order to get the Well of Suffering, I need to have a tier 4 altar. So that needs, let's see, I think there's 7 blocks here that I need to fill in with ritual stone, or with runes, blank runes. In the newer recipe, these self-sacrifice and sacrifice and all the other runes all get built off of the basic rune, which is just stone anyway. So really, if I just spend all my time getting basic blank runes, it won't be wasting any time because I need those anyway. And then I upgrade them into the actual runes. So I need to get the tier 4 altar, which needs 7 times 5 is 28. So I need 28 different runes, blank runes. So I need to get, I believe if my math is correct, 56 of these blank slates. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. These will be probably the last ones I'll actually have to manually do here, because once I have the Well of Suffering set up, I can set up this to be automated. So that will be the first step of my automation today, is getting the blood magic altar automated. We have our blank runes. Now I need a couple more things before I can actually make the next tier. First up, I need to have these weak blood shards. In order to do that, I need to actually make use of the binding reagent I made last time to make a bound blade. Bound blade. So let's go ahead and go up here. I need an open space. The thing just needs open to the sky. So we place down our arcane ash, binding reagent in the middle. You can see it's much bigger alchemy right today. We'll throw our diamond sword in. And avoid getting struck by lightning. And apparently they fixed it, so now it doesn't have the fire, because it's pretty common to accidentally lose your bound blade, your bound gear, with the fire left over from the lightning. So we have our bound blade, so we can go kill some stuff, get the blood shards, make the blood stones, and then actually upgrade our altar. But again, before we can do that, we have a few more things to do. Before I can actually automate this, I need to make the node router. That'll let me direct what my output and input routing nodes go to, and let me link everything together, which is basically the first step to be able to use the blood magic automation system here. So with that, I can have it set to, for instance, fill a chest with the shards, or not shards, the slates. So I can have it say 2 stacks of the weakest, and then a stack of the next, and so on and so forth, just kind of with whatever numbers I'd like. And that way it'll just automatically fill that chest with those parts, and I'll just need to have a chest of input stone, and it'll automatically do the rest. Next up, we're going to need the Ritual Diviner. This has the various inscription tools, which I have all the parts up for them on me, and then diamonds and a stick. So we're going to go ahead and place this in here. Just kind of wait during the night. I've been killing the guys with the sword here. Got a couple blood shards so far, but it's kind of filling my inventory with all the junk. So I'm just going to build through all of these, make the tool to free up my inventory, and I'll be back. Okay, we have the 4 inscription tools. So let's go ahead and make the Ritual Diviner. There we go. This is only the first tier. I actually will want the second tier with Dusk runes, which needs Demonic Slate and the Dusk inscription tools. However, for that, I need to actually upgrade my altar. So let's go ahead, grab a bit of stone here, blood shards, and I'm only going to make 1 of these right now. I'm going to keep the blood shard for later. I only actually need 4 of these stones. So oh, I don't have my flight spell on me, do I? Oh, there we go. So let's flight, and let's break these and replace them with the bloodstones. 2, 3, not sure what's with my frame rate, but probably gonna fall out of the sky before I finish this. Only 30 seconds, I didn't cast it as a ritual. Okay, so there's bloodstones, now to make the runes. Runes are on place, bloodstone caps are in place, and I've already made my demonic slates and the next level of inscription tool. So let's go in here and we can now upgrade this. Haven't even used it yet and we're already upgrading it. So this will now, I can cycle through here, virtual full spring, serenade nether. Oh, there we go, well of suffering. So if we mouse over this and hold shift, it shows me that I need 36 runes, which means I get to make more slates. So I'm going to make those 36 runes and I will get back to you. Let's make things a little bit easier on ourselves. I've got all my routing nodes here, so I'm going to place the master routing node just up top here. Doesn't really matter where it is, it just needs to be nearby. Now I'm going to have two chests here. Let's place the second one right here. So I'm going to have an input and an output chest. So my plan is basically throw stone in here, and I want my finished slates to end up over here. The cool thing with these routing nodes is that you can actually have multiple sides interacting. So we're going to place an input there and an output here. What this is going to do is this input node, I'm going to tell it, let's see, that direction is west. So I want the west side, let's go over here, to be able to take stone. Sorry, this is the input routing node. That I don't need to set up. This is the output routing node. I want the, what is it, south side. Is this correct? Throw a precise item filter in here. This lets me set whatever I'd like. And I want stone. We want 1 stone. Click. And 1. That's it. Next up, we need to actually set all these to go to the master node. There's that one. And second one. So these are both connected to the master, so they're connected to each other. So our input routing node here, west, I actually do need to set this up. Place a stone. Actually, sorry, again, getting this backwards. I want this east, because I need to have it take the stone. Nope, still not working. Should be taking everything. Yeah. 1, do I have to do that? Let me sort this out a little bit, and I will get back to you once I have the settings actually correct here. I had 2 problems. 1, there's no stone in here. And 2, the reason there was no stone in here was because this chest over here doesn't have a filter set up. So that meant that it could take really anything I wanted, which isn't that useful. On my little elevator there. So let's go to the north side here. And here we'll set it up what we actually want to go in here. So for now, let's say I want 20 reinforced slate. Now, if I throw the stone in here, it'll take just a single one. Saw it real quick there. Place it in my blood altar. That's going to go ahead and craft up into the next tier. It won't take it yet because I don't have an output slot for it, but we're going to fix that as soon as it's done. There we go. Blank slate. It automatically filled in the next stone there. So let's set up our blank slates in here. I didn't have any on me, so I couldn't set the number. Let's say I want 10. What that's going to do is, once this has 10 blank, or once this creates a blank slate, it's going to automatically grab it, throw it in here, like it did, and then once I have 10 of these, it's going to start waiting until I have a reinforced slate to bring it over here. There, number 2. And I'm actually going to change my numbers here, because I'm lazy and I want it to do everything for me. So let's just have it do, I can type full stack 64 of those, and these guys here, I'm actually gonna leave that at 10. I don't need a whole lot of those right now. I do need some every so often. I need them, for instance, for these item filters. These take a blank slate each, but mostly right now I'm interested in the reinforced slate so I can make my ritual stones. Once I have the ritual stones, then I don't have to actually manually put blood in here with sacrificial dagger. So, I'm gonna let this go kind of on its own a while. I'm gonna just keep feeding it blood until I've got my slates, and then I can actually put in the well of suffering, and it'll be fully automated at that point. There we go, we have our 10 blank slates, and as you can see, it leaves the slate in here until I get my reinforced slate. Once that's done, it's gonna go ahead and pull that in here, and I'll have 2. So, like I said, it's gonna take a little bit here. I'm just kind of babysitting it, make sure it has blood. Once that's all done, like I said, the ritual is going to go underneath here. Going to throw some witches under here. And then basically just give it a couple stacks of stone and say, I want all of this. There we go, number 2. Perfect. Said 36, I meant 40. I forgot that I actually need the Master Ritual Stone, which uses for the regular. So, I have my 40. Now let's make our Ritual Stones. These are just reinforced slate and obsidian. And luckily I can get obsidian pretty quickly now with my basically instant mining spell. So, let's go ahead. For some reason, it doesn't ever want to actually do more than one at a time. Probably because the Magician's Blood Orb doesn't stack, and so it doesn't want to do it properly. But that's okay. I'll just go like that. Oh, 1, 2, 3. That's weird. So, there we go. 40 of those. Let's throw all this back in my inventory and get a Master Ritual Stone. Pretty much the same thing, just more obsidian. Alright, now we have enough to make our Well of Suffering. So we can go ahead and steal one of our witches, because I'll need her in a second. Got a small collection of them at this point. They're rather noisy. And I just want one of you. Yep. Did I catch you? Yep, I did. Okay. Aptly named Blood Sacrifice. So I'll meet you back over the blood altar. Apparently this area is prone to forest fires. I think it's actually one of those demon animals, like there's demon pigs, demon sheep, and all that. I think it was one of them this time, because they usually have like a trail of fire behind them. So that might be why I'm having issues with frame rate sometimes. So, before my flight spell runs out, let's land here. So, blood altar, it's just going to keep going. Ran out of blood, that's okay. But let's go downstairs. Yeah, that doesn't help my frame rate at all. Oh. Rain, that'll actually help. So, let's find the center, which should be right here. And let's place down the Master Ritual Stone. And this has the Well of Suffering. So, okay. It has a nice little outline here. So it goes one block higher than itself. So, that means let's move him up a few blocks. Just use some stone. There we go. So, one there. Can go one above itself. So, I think this should be good. Maybe? Let's see what the outline shows. Does that work? Yeah, that works. So, we just have to right click to place in all of them. Technically, the Ritual Diviner isn't necessary. I think I'm standing in the way here. But it does make it so I can just place the blocks much easier. There we go. I think that's all of them. I probably could have done it up one and had it up into the stairs there, or into the living rock. And actually, you know, I am going to do that because I'm going to put stairs on top of that anyway. So I'll be right back after moving this up one level. Moved my 6 witches in, and now for the last piece of the puzzle, this weak activation crystal, which is basically just made by throwing lava crystal into the blood altar. So hopefully I have enough in my system. We'll find out shortly here. Rush of energy flows through the ritual. I should hear them getting hurt now. Maybe. Might be too far away, actually. Let's grab one. Okay, so they are too far away. Well, that's a little annoying. So, I'm gonna have to, I guess, move them up to find out how much higher they need to be. I think it's probably only a couple blocks that they need to be higher, so I'll be right back after I lift them all up. Turns out it wasn't that they needed to be higher, it was that they just need to be one space further in. So, I have 3 over here, and I found 1 extra, so I've got 7 right now. And which actually seems to be doing pretty good. It's able to keep up at least with the slate production. So that's pretty much entirely, well, done at this point. Really just waiting for this to get done. Once I have 64 here, I'm going to take out the next one, put it in here, just so that I have one, so I can set my filter actually. Oh, well, do that in here. Yeah, so I'll be able to set my filter, and what I'll probably actually do then is bump up north here the reinforced slates to probably 2 stacks and a full stack of blank slate. It'll take a while to fill that all out, but then I'll have plenty of these to go around. Like I said, the reinforced slates are useful for the rituals, I want to get a quarry set up here. Not so much for regular resources, but actually in the water biomes here, there's a corallium from Abyssal Craft. So that's needed in order to actually get into the Abyssal Lands, which is a different dimension. So I'll be able to set up another portal over here. Now that I've got my slate production going, I upgrade a lot of these into Runes of Sacrifice. I still have quite a few self-sacrifice left, but I also still have a bunch of blank runes left. Basically, my goal here was to get it so that I can charge this Master Orb without actually losing anything. So it's able to actually fill the altar faster than I'm draining it, which is pretty good. I think this one has max of 1,000,000 LP, so it'll take a little bit to fill that up, but as you can see, it's filling up pretty quickly here, so I'm quite happy with this. Next thing I'd like to work on is a temporary structure. In fact, it's so temporary I'm not going to bother automating it by using the second ritual. I'm going to use the Ritual of Magnetism. Now, this is usually paired with a Ritual of the Crusher, which will basically then mine the blocks that I'm going to be mining up with this. But I'm going to not do that because I want to use either my Silk Touch or my Fortune on this. So let's place that there. Get a couple of these placed so I can stand on one. And fill in the rest. Now, you noticed I put a diamond block underneath there. What that'll do is allow the range of this to, instead of being basically just this 5x5 structure down to bedrock, it'll be 32 by 32. Actually, maybe it's 32 block radius. I can't remember. Either way, it's quite the range. So it's pretty simple. You just activate it, and it'll start summoning the ores from underneath the ground here. It'll take a little bit to get started here. I think it needs to find the rocks first, and it starts from its current level, and it searches downward. So it has to search a rather large area. There we go, coal. So yeah, like I said, it's going to start from the top and go down. So it's going to start with the higher up ores, like the coal here, and then eventually I'll get down to diamond level. The reason I'm doing this is because, well, I used a lot of gold on those sacrifice stones over there. So we're going to just make it up and get more of it here. I take back what I said. I don't feel like babysitting this thing. Let's place our Master Ritual down. And let's go to our Ritual of the Crusher. Place a couple of these. I think I should be able to do it from right here. There we go. Place everything in. And activate it. Now things are going to start popping out the top here. So I got myself a gold chest. And items should just go directly into here. Perfect. It's not exactly the ideal situation here, because it is just going to be breaking it as if I'm using not fortune, not anything, just straight up breaking it. So, at some point I'm going to go through and automate this so it'll do fortune, but for now it's just going to kind of go along for a while. It'll take a while before it gets down to anything I actually care too much about anyway. For now it's mostly copper, iron, and coal, and well, I've got more coal than I know what to do with. I will have Chimer right here, I guess, but that's okay. I have quite a lot of that already. And eventually I'm going to be switching to a Botania Orchid to generate most of my ores anyway. So now that I've got a level 4 altar and slate automation set up, I can finally upgrade these Tartaric gems. It's basically capped out at 1024, and well, I can fill that pretty easily right now. So, time to actually get an upgrade. So, let's switch that over to that one here. Yeah, it's barely anything. And I'm guessing this, I probably need 1024 in here in order to actually do it. So let's see if that'll upgrade. Nope. Alright. Well, I'll upgrade that when I get to it. You can see here I have the Teru Bozu selected in the JEI. I was tired of it raining all the time. So instead, still a frame right here. So instead, I set up a little automation, which should work. It hasn't rained since, so I would assume so. Basically, he will output a redstone signal, depending on if it's raining or not. And so as soon as that signal comes out, it just activates the dropper, which is filled with sunflowers. So hopefully I should never see rain again. If it does start raining, then I'll fix my wiring because I messed something up. I've got this very basic incense setup up here. Basically, the grass and the netherrack and everything basically just adds together to give you more what's the word, tranquility from the incense altar. which really only helps you if you're doing self-sacrifice. Now that I've got a small army of witches down there, I don't really need that anymore. So, time to break. It's been a few days since that last recording. You can see I got rid of the upper area here, the incense altar. My plan was never to really keep that permanently, because all of it is stored down below here now. The witches and stuff are keeping plenty of blood going into the altar. I switched out. Now I'm using these raw stone pillars. Well, the raw stone is, I guess, the main aspect I'm going for here. I think I'm going to use a similar palette for most of the base. So it's been a couple days because I was going to use these raw stone pillar caps, but when I tried to use it with the rotted shifting crust, it ended up crashing everything repeatedly. And like I said, it's been a couple days. It took me a couple hours to fix that. I had to basically delete all the metadata for the rotted shifting crust to get that to actually work, so I could actually load the world again. So that took a little while. So I fixed that up, made it look nice and pretty, and I'm also going with a similar theme over here in my storage area. Some of you may have seen my Imager album, my work in progress album there. This is my new storage area. I switched out these stairs here for living rock stairs. I also expanded the storage to go underneath these. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that or if I want it to be the little walkway I had there before. But to be honest, it's a little short anyway. Like you can see, it's, you know, bumping my head. So I'm not too fond of that. I think I'll just keep it with this here, the drawers. And last but not least, automation. So I have a couple different things here. These are two master routing nodes. One is going to be the input network, the other is going to be the output network. And this is going to basically, do I have my linking? Nope, I don't. Let me go grab my node router. There we go, node router. If I have this equipped, you can see it has various lasers showing. And yeah, so the input storage currently is just, this is the input chest for now. This will, as well as importing into the drawer controllers, the top node there, the master node, is going to also be linking to each of these chests up here. So these will sort by the various mods, as well as the main storage drawer control down here. I also threw these on because my frame rate kind of drops with everything showing, so it kind of increased a little bit here. Yeah, so that's the input. Actually, yeah, the input will go to all of those, and then this chest here is basically going to be receiving items that are with my processing that'll be downstairs. Then output is very similar. Anything that needs to be output, for instance, I'll send cobblestone out to get turned into sand and all that. That'll be routing through the output node. So basically this will be hooked up to different things. Well, one to an input, one to an output. So I can basically pull anything I need to anywhere in my base. Unfortunately, like I said, it's been a few days. I ran out of time for this episode, as well as it's currently 5:30, and normally I have this episode posted by 8 o'clock. So yeah, 8 o'clock a.m. instead of 5:30 p.m. So I think we're going to call this for an episode. If you have any feedback, positive, negative, if you like the color theme here I'm going with, it's going to be white and this kind of tealish, as well as I'm going to keep some gray. Not sure where I'm going to have it, but I'm going to have some gray in here still. So, if you have any feedback, positive, negative, I would love to hear it. Leave me a comment, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye.